welcome back to Shakespeare Uncomplicated. Today we're going to be talking about a very amazing book which is a part of post-colonial literature's paper, which generally comes in your third year. So the book is Chronicle of a Death Foretold by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. First I'll be giving you a little bit of an introduction about the author himself. Then we'll talk about the summary and analysis of the text, which would be followed by the themes, and finally the characters. So Marquez is a very special author who has always had a distinct style of writing. He was born in Colombia, which is in Latin America, and he grew up listening to stories from his grandparents, which really influenced his own style of writing. He grew up to become a Nobel Prize winning journalist and novelist, and he's one writer who has always believed in the convergence of literature and journalism. So that's why his style of writing is very reportorial and journalistic, and his tone is very rustic and conversational, and it really reflects the kind of life that people in Latin America live. And what distinguishes him from other authors is his profuse use of the style called magic realism. So magic realism is a style of writing where two elements which are real and fantastical are combined together. So the real and the fantastical are combined together, and the boundaries between the realistic and the fantastical are blurred. So no one has to justify the fantastical in magic realism. So Chronicle of a Death Foretold is inspired by a murder that took place in Colombia, and 27 years after the incident, Marquez went back to his hometown in order to explore the event, draw conclusions about it, and eventually write a journalistic piece on it. But after getting to know people's opinions about it, and after asking people what actually happened, he found no objectivity about the entire event. So he eventually had to change his approach, and instead of writing a journalistic article, he wrote a novel on it. So the narrative revolves around a wedding that is taking place in a town, and the entire town is engrossed in the festivities. They're having a gala time, and the wedding is of Angela Vicario with Bayardo San Roman. So on the wedding night, the groom discovers that Angela, who's the bride, is not a virgin. So the next morning, he comes back to the town to return his bride. By this, the brothers of the bride are infuriated, and they ask her, "Who deflowered you? Who took your virginity?" So she says that Santiago Nasser, who is our protagonist, deflowered her. After this, the Vicario twins, Pedro and Pablo, they take out to kill and murder Santiago Nasser. They announce it to the entire town that we are going out to kill Santiago Nasser, but very astonishingly, nobody is able to tell Santiago, because of one reason or the other, that he is going to be killed. So Santiago eventually dies without knowing his crime. So the story is not an investigation into the murder, it is an investigation into how such a publicized murder could have taken place. So our protagonist Santiago Nasser is killed on the suspicion of having violated Angela Vicario's honor, and the climax in this story is basically foretold. So the death, which is the climax, is foretold. It is told at just the beginning of the text, and it is very anticlimactic, and that makes the structure and the entire narrative of the novel very unique and very different. So moving further, let's talk about certain themes which are important in the text. The first one is machismo. Machismo basically means a strong and aggressive masculine pride, which is very evident in the text, which the text unleashes and criticizes. So in Chronicle of a Death Foretold, patriarchal gender roles are applied to women. They are expected to be in the domestic spheres only. They're married off without their will. There are a lot of misogynistic concepts that are prevalent in their society. Women are subjected to sexual abuse, and women are basically subjugated in every realm of life. So another very important theme in the text has to be honor. Honor is attached to women of the family and especially their bodies, and the responsibility of preserving, conserving, and restoring honor is bestowed upon the men of the family. This is evident from the instance of the Vicario family, where Angela is dishonored and deflowered by Santiago Nasser, and her brothers Pedro and Pablo, they take out to murder Santiago Nasser to restore the honor of their sister, themselves, and their family and community. So the third very important theme has to be that of violence. And violence has been portrayed in a very magical, in a very fantastical way in the text. Like when Santiago Nasser was killed, it has been written that he was stabbed and no blood came out of his body, which is of course a sign of his innocence, and how he was carrying his intestines in his hand and walking for miles and miles after being stabbed. So there's a lot of gory imagery attached to the violence, which makes the text feel more magical and fantastical. So the next theme that we're going to be talking about is that of fact, fiction, and memory. So the text very evidently proves that memory is fallible, and it showcases the ambiguity regarding truth, because no two people have the same perspective towards the event. The author talked to many people who saw the crime from their own eyes, but no objective truth came out of it, because the experience of no two people was similar. The last theme that we're going to be talking about is that of fate and free will. This dichotomy of fate and free will has been embedded in the text very deeply. The paradoxical coexistence of the mystical fate and the earthly free will is very evident in the text, and it represents how fate and free will are not mutually exclusive, and they can exist together, and they do exist together in our life. So in the text, our protagonist Santiago Nasser is fated to die, but on the other hand, the people of the town possess free will, because they have the choice to tell or not to tell Santiago that he is going to be killed. But most of them, in fact all of them, because of certain fatal coincidences and circumstances, fail to tell Santiago that he is going to be killed. So in the text, our protagonist Santiago Nasser is one ill-fated man, because he died without even knowing the cause of his death, and he did not even know what crime he had committed to be killed so brutally. So Pedro and Pablo Vicario, the Vicario twins, have been showcased as authoritarian patriarchs of the Vicario family and the custodians of their sister's honor. The man who Angela marries, Beardo San Roman, is an outsider to the town who is very impulsive with money, who would buy anything and everything for his lover, and he is a patriarchal and a misogynistic person who returns his bride only because she is not a virgin. So lastly, Angela Vicario is a total rebel and a woman who subverts the chauvinistic and misogynistic codes of society. So that's it for our tutorial on Chronicle of a Death Foretold by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I really hope that this video helped you in understanding the text, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next video as well. Bye bye, see you.